What's up, friends? It is day 9 of our recovery, like barely getting into day 9 because it is about midnight. I'm awake, still awake, can't really sleep. I'm tired, but I don't know, a lot on my mind. And so I figured, why not just talk to you guys? Why not talk to you guys? I've changed my clothes. I had a doctor's appointment and they took out my drains, which was pretty darn cool. I thought it was gonna hurt. It did not. Every time I think something is gonna hurt, it doesn't. So, thank you, Lord, for that one. But we're hanging out. My hair is a hot mess. I got plaque psoriasis, and it is like going crazy. Going straight up crazy. So hopefully we can get that taken care of soon. But what did I want to talk to you guys about today, tonight, this morning? It's midnight. Is it morning? Technically, whatever. So I got my surgical pathology report and I was hoping and praying for no chemo and no radiation. I was hoping that the surgery would have been enough, but it wasn't. Thankfully, I do not need chemo. So, yes, Lord. I'm very happy about that. But I will need radiation, and that is because they found cancer cells in 1 out of the 2 lymph nodes that they took out. So it is what it is. We were confused on the lymph node status because I had gotten a COVID and flu vaccine like 3 days before my biopsy. So my lymph nodes were like, and they were like, we don't know if that's cancer or if that's the actual vaccine. So we won't know until surgery. So surgery came and went, and lo and behold, it was the cancer. It was not the vaccines. So I have my doctor's appointment next week, and I guess she'll tell me how this is gonna work with the expanders and radiation. Like, do I expand and radiate at the same time? Do I expand first? Do I radiate first? I don't know. That'll be a question I will ask the doctor when I see her next week. But all in all, feels weird. All in all, recovery is going well. I am a little sore, but it's nothing crazy. I've been putting ointment on the bottom of the incision as I was instructed to do so today. I can take a shower as of later on today. So after 10 a.m. I can take a shower. So I'm a little nervous about that, but excited. Nervous, but excited. But let's talk about what you read as the title of this vlog. Not 1, not 2, but 3. Okay, friends, 3. 3 cancers. So we thought it was just Curtis, but Curtis done had 2 cousins. Okay, he done had Clementine and Conrad. Okay, Clementine and Conrad. So I have so much in my mind, hence why I can't sleep. But we're gonna backtrack before we talk about Conrad, Clementine, and Curtis, before we talk about those 3. So when this whole situation went down in October, immediately my husband was like, listen, whatever decision you make is your body. But if it were me, I would get a mastectomy. Like bilateral, meaning take them both out, chop them goodbye to Taze, okay? And I was like, okay, feels a little drastic, but okay. And then when I posted my initial video, there were a few comments that said, hey, if you get the opportunity to do a mastectomy, do it. And I'm like, okay, I'll look into it. But I was not sure if I was eligible for that because I don't know why. I thought that you had to meet certain criteria in order to be eligible for a bilateral mastectomy. I don't know why I thought that, but that's what I thought. All I had known was lumpectomy because that's what my sister did. So I was like, okay, I guess that's what I'm gonna do. So I had that first consult on October 23rd with the surgeon, and We talked about it, and I know she had mentioned everything else, but whatever. We went with lumpectomy. So I had to consult with that doctor. But in between the consult with the surgeon and the consult with the first plastic surgeon, I started researching, and I'm like, what are the options? Is there more than one option? And so I started learning about the deep flap surgery and lumpectomy, going flat completely, expanders, and I'm like, oh, there are choices. So that's when I brought it back to my surgeon's attention, and she said, oh, I didn't realize that you were considering a mastectomy, but sure, yeah, let's set up another consult with the plastic surgeon that does those type of surgeries. Okay, so throughout this entire time, I am leaning heavily on bilateral mastectomy because I feel like I am a all or nothing kind of girl. All or nothing. And sometimes that's good and sometimes that is not good. And so I was like, you know what? Let's talk to this guy, see if I'm eligible for a deep flap surgery. That's where they cut your abdomen, your fat from here, and they create the flap and create a breast out of your own tissue. So I was like, let me see if I'm a candidate for that because I got a big belly. Long story short, I think I mentioned it in that video that I'm not eligible for that because even though my belly is big, it's really not big because of fat. It's big because my abdominal wall is so weak that my intestines, my organs, they all kind of just, bleh, they all kind of sit forward in my abdominal cavity. So he was like, no, you're not a candidate for that surgery. You don't have enough fat. He said, abdominoplasty. I said, okay, all right, no big deal. He was like, we could do implant, like the reconstruction with implant. And there are risks for the implants, but I'm okay with the risks. So I said yes to that. So now there's still a part of me that it's like, am I being super extra? Because Curtis is small. He's 6 millimeters. He's tiny. He's not very, very big. Yes, he's invasive, but he's not like the size of a golf ball. He's small. So I got my second opinion from the doctors at UMass, General Mass, the doctors in Boston. And the report that I received from them, they were in line, meaning pro bilateral mastectomy, given my family history. And so I was like, okay, they're in line with it. Then I went and had a fourth opinion at Memorial Sloan Kettering in New York with the chief of surgery. And she was not for the bilateral. She said, given your case, you could be fine doing a lumpectomy. Like, you don't need to remove the other breast. That seems to be extreme. So she was not for the bilateral mastectomy. So I was like, I'm still gonna do it because I'm an all or nothing kind of girl. And getting the bilateral mastectomy gives me the opportunity to address the issues in my abdomen, because since I have to have another surgery to swap out the expanders and put in the implant, since I'm going to be under anesthesia, the doctor said, while you're under, we can do this second procedure and just a one and done. And I'm like, that sounds good to me because I don't want to have more surgeries. That's it. So I said, okay. I'm like, you know what? The bilateral is going to afford me more opportunities in the long run to address more than one issue. So that's what we went for. So here we are, the last day of 2024, getting ready to break up with Curtis. Excited. So we go under and we wake up. I wake up. Did they get all the cancer? Did they get it? Like, I woke up a bit disoriented, the nurses told me. But I was just like, I guess that was on my mind. Did they get it all? And so I'm like, okay, they bandage you up and they send you home and you wait for the pathology, because the pathology that you get from a biopsy, it's good. It tells you whether you do have cancer or not, but it doesn't tell you the full story. Like, you don't get the full story until you actually go in and take it out and then run the surgical pathology. So about a week passes and my phone rings and it's my surgeon. And she's like, hey, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And I'm like, I'm actually doing great, feeling good. She goes, have you seen the portal yet? Your results are in. I said, no, I haven't. She says, well, she goes, you made the right decision. I said, what do you mean? She goes, a bilateral mastectomy was the best decision for you. She goes, we got it all. And I'm like, you got all the cancer? She says, we got it all. And we got it all with negative margins. Negative margins meaning that, like, if you have, a little dot and that's the cancer, they're going to cut a large enough rim around that dot. Maybe I'll insert a picture to ensure that every piece of tissue around the cancerous tissue doesn't have cancer cells. And if that's the case, that means they've got negative margins, meaning they've got it all. But if they cut too close to the cancer and they test the edges of that diameter or the perimeter, and part of it comes out like, oh, there's still some cancer in here, it's positive, then you run the risk of there's still cancer in the area. So she goes, everything that they excised, everything that they took out, they got good margins on. I was like, okay, praise the Lord. And she says, and the lymph nodes, we got that. And then she goes, we also found some DCIS in there. I said, wait, what? DCIS? I have IDC. And if you're like, what do these letters mean? So DCIS means ductal carcinoma in situ, or in situ, however you pronounce it, which means it is a stage 0 cancer. It is the beginning stage of cancer. It's cancer cells that have formed but have not broken through the membrane. So they haven't invaded the rest of the tissue. So I had invasive ductal carcinoma. When they did the biopsy, my cancer was stage 1. It had already broken and it was starting to proliferate and invade. And I'm like, you found DCIS. DCIS is stage 0 cancer. So they found another cancer in addition. Okay, so they found Clementine. Okay, they took out Curtis, and then they found Clementine. And then hiding in the lobules, they found LCIS, which is lobular carcinoma in situ. So a third cancer. They found Conrad. I have three separate cancers growing in my left breast, and I didn't know it. And the last one, the lobular one, those are like tricky cancers because cancers that form in the ducts tend to like clump together, the cells, and hence why you get like a lump. And when it's big enough, that lump is palpable. Either you could see it or you could feel it. Well, with lobular cancers or cancer in the lobules, the cancer is linear. It's flat. So if you can like envision a spider web that, starts off small and begins to like expand and expand and expand. So they're a little harder to see on imaging. By the time you catch it, it has been so hard to detect that it's already reached your lymph nodes. We caught it at stage 0. Not only that, but then she said, we also, because you're going to cut off the right breast, we also have to do pathology. On any tissue that we cut, we have to run pathology. So they ran pathology on the right breast, and thankfully, no cancer. But there was a hyperplasia, which can, I guess, in time turn into something. But there was no cancer cells in the right breast. But there were suspicious findings in the right breast. So when she said that, I was like, oh my God. Thank you, Lord. I wasn't being extra. Now, I'm not telling you that if you were going through something like this, that you got to go and chop off the titties. I'm not telling you to do that. Okay? Don't be like, well, Helen told me. Helen done told you nothing. Helen told you her story. Helen told you her experience. Okay? But for me, I didn't want to take chances. And I'm so glad that I made the decision that I made. All I could say for anyone watching this, do what I have been saying from day one. Go to your doctor's visits. Stay on top of your yearly mammograms, yearly ultrasounds if you have dense breasts. Read your reports. Don't just assume that everything is fine or that everything is benign. Read it and read that it says benign. And for you, don't just depend 100% on what the doctor says. Do your part. Do your part. Ask questions, right? Hey, I read my report and I saw that I had 2 cysts. One is labeled as simple, one is labeled as complicated. Can you just explain to me what those 2 terms mean? Okay. Should I be concerned about the one that's complicated? Okay. Oh, and the radiologist noted that I should now have 6-month follow-up. Are you in alignment with that? Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Like, those are the conversations you should be having with your doctor, and not just okay, where you're nodding yes to everything that they say because they're the doctor. No, listen to them. Take everything in, listen to it all, and then question the things that you're not completely clear on. Like, don't ever walk out of a doctor's office feeling like, huh? Like, don't walk out like that. So that's what I'm telling you to do. And do your due diligence to get all of the opinions that you can get, and then make your decision. And whatever decision you make, just, it's the right decision. You made it, right? It's your decision. But I'm really happy that I chose the bilateral mastectomy, because reading that pathology report and seeing that in addition to Curtis, that there were 2 more cancers that were forming, 2 more. So had I gotten the lumpectomy, okay, everything's great. Yeah, we got Curtis. He's gone. Yes, sentinel lymph nodes gone. We're good. And as I'm healing, and then a year passes and I'm doing scans again, now we find Clementine. And then we find Conrad. After the fact. That would have torn me up. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful. So that was it. I don't even know what time it is, but thank you for watching my journey. I'm trying to get footage of me actually doing stuff, not just talking to the camera, because I know that can get boring. But like I said on the first video, if you watch these videos, watch them. If you don't. They're serving more as a therapeutic outlet for me. So, but I want to make them interesting for you too, because I know some of you are watching this, and I've been getting emails and inbox messages of people that are like, oh, thank you for sharing your story. I have a mastectomy scheduled in a few weeks. And I'm like, holy moly, So I hope that my story can inspire and motivate you and uplift you in any way, shape, or form. But like I said, I am going to try to keep up with filming more of my content. Like I said, today is recovery day 9, technically, because it's the 9th. Yes, it's the 9th of January. And, I'll try to record more when I go to the doctor, and just more content. Love you guys. See you on the next one.